Hey everybody, Shane here from GimmeAct.com. Here we are today back in Life is Strange Double Exposure, going for the Frame Fatale achievement. This is to take every single possible snapshot in your playthrough. First one up is going to be done in Chapter 1. This is going to be during the first sub-chapter, Out of the Gutter, right at the beginning of the game. Once we get into the bowling alley, you're going to find this wall right here. Make sure you look at it, and then you're going to go up to it. Hit the B button to take a snapshot. You're going to enter camera mode. Feel free to set up the photo however you want, but you're going to take the photo with right trigger and then hit A to save, and that's going to be what counts for the achievement. Next one up is going to be story related and can't be missed. We're going to make our way down to the actual bowling lanes, and we're going to need to snap a photo right here. So B button to snapshot, and that's going to take care of that one, and that's going to allow us to move on with the next part of the story. So what's going to happen is you're going to get to this part where you remove a tarp, then your character is going to need to find their way up to the second floor. Make sure you make your way behind this counter right here. You are supposed to climb up the left shoe rack. However, if you look at the middle and right shoe rack, you should be able to snap a picture of this. So make sure you do that, and that's going to be the next one. This one is going to be missable if you do climb up to the second floor too early. Once we have that one, we're going to continue on with the story. This is going to have us go up to the second floor and then enter this room right here. This next snapshot is going to be story related and unmissable. It is going to be the mobile right here. So make sure you head over to the window and then hit the snapshot button on the Nebula mobile, and that's going to take care of that bit for the story. Moving on to the subchapter, things are looking up. This one's going to be when you are on the roof of the observatory. Before you talk to anyone, make sure you snap both of the people's pictures. So you're going to have Moses on your left right here, who's going to be next to the telescopes. So snap a pic of that. You're going to get this dialogue choice. You can close that very easily by hitting left trigger, and then just make sure you snap his photo as you normally would. Then we're going to have Safi over to our right, so make sure you head over here to the guardrail, and make sure you snap her photo as well. And that's going to be all of the snapshots available to you in Chapter 1. So we're going to move on to Chapter 2. First one is going to be done in the first subchapter, Table 4-3. This is going to be right after the introductory dialogue. Once you get control of your character, you're going to want to turn around towards that booth you were just at. Make sure you snap a photo of these people, Safi and Yasmin, and that's going to be the first one of Chapter 2 out of the way. Next subchapter is going to be By the Horns. This one's going to have quite a few of them. First one up is going to be right when you get control of your character. You're going to be at the north quad by the statue. You're going to want to turn around, cross this bridge right here, and just follow the sidewalk until you see this snowman. Make sure you go up to it and then snap a photo, and that's going to take care of that. Now, this subchapter is going to splinter off into 3 different arcs, one for each of the characters that you need to interact with. For the sake of collectibles, I'm going to recommend that you head to the Fine Arts building next. Once you get here, you're going to notice there's going to be a 2-sided telephone booth right over here. Make sure you go up to it and then snap a snapshot. This one is also going to count as a student project for that achievement, so do interact with it as well for that. But nonetheless, you're going to get a little cutscene once you get in front of Gwen's office. Once that's over, make sure you head on inside. We are going to need to look around her office. This is going to be part of the Gwen arc for the main story of the subchapter. Once you are done snooping around in the living world line, you're going to need to world leap over to the dead world line. So make sure you do that. There should be a portal over by the door. Once you make it over to the dead world line, you're going to notice this bookend on the bookcase over here in this corner. Take a snapshot of this, and that's going to be another one towards this achievement. So wrap up whatever you have left to do with the Gwen arc and then head outside. You're going to go to the left and then you're going to find Lucas right here sitting at this table. This is going to be the start of the Lucas arc. Now, the main purpose of this arc is to get into his briefcase, which is going to require that we talk to him. We're going to need to talk to him first in the living world line, so make sure you world leap. There's going to be a portal right behind the wall by this door right here. Once you are in the living world line, make sure you approach him and then make sure you start up a conversation. So hit A to speak, and then you're going to talk to him. What's going to happen is he's going to leave, and you're going to get the objective to get the key to open up the briefcase. This is going to then require us to head back to the dead world line, so make sure you go back to that portal, and make sure you switch world lines. And then once you are over to the other side, make sure you talk to him again. Once you are wrapped up with this first bit of dialogue, you're going to have the chance to grab a signed copy of his book. This one is going to count for a few different achievements. So it's going to count as a piece of evidence for that achievement as well as a book for that achievement. So make sure you grab one, just interact with the book to look at it and then go through that conversation. And then once you get the option to take it, make sure you do so. And that's going to allow you to pocket it. Once that's done, we're going to head over here to the front of the wall, and you're going to notice there's going to be an Expo Standee here. Make sure you hit the Y button to examine. That's going to give your character the clue on how to solve this little impasse we currently find ourselves in. So, in order to get past this, we're going to need to vandalize the Expo Standee. There's going to be a marker on the counter of the cafe. Make sure you grab that. Head back to the Standee and make sure you graffiti it up. You should get a choice on whatever graffiti you want to do. It doesn't really matter, so just choose whatever you want. And then once the graffiti is in place, you're going to need to go back to Lucas and basically tell him that someone has graffitied the Expo Standee. This is going to be the thing that distracts him and gets him away from the briefcase. Now, before you do anything else, you're going to want to make sure you take a snapshot of this incident. So you're going to be taking a photo of him trying to get rid of the permanent marker on the Standee. So make sure you do keep that in mind before you do anything with the briefcase. Just make sure you go up to Lucas and then make sure you take a snapshot of him in this situation. Then it's going to be over to the third character's arc in the form of Vinh's arc. You're going to need to wrap up the first half of his arc outside before you can do this part. But we're going to head into the administration building. We're going to need to world line hop over to the dead world line, so make sure you do that. There's going to be a portal right here in this alcove by this door. Once we're over into the dead world line, make sure you head into his office. He's going to be lounging around the couch playing with some tarot cards. Just make sure you take a snapshot of him in this moment, and that's going to take care of that. And that's also going to take care of this subchapter, thankfully. Moving on to the subchapter, leaving nothing overlooked, you're going to start out right here. You're going to need to world line hop over to the living world line in order to get past the police officer right there at the gate. So make sure you do that. There's going to be a portal right here by this bench. Now, once you hop world lines, we're going to take a little detour before heading up to the overlook. So make sure you go the way you came, and then make sure you head down this path. The first tree on your left, you want to make sure you pay attention to. There's going to be a very familiar looking mug in it. Hit the Y button to examine, and then once you have the option to snap the photo, make sure you do so. This is not only going to be a snapshot, it's also going to be a piece of evidence for the evidence box for that achievement. So there's going to be another one that counts for 2 achievements. This is going to bring us to the next subchapter, Avoiding Detection. We're going to need to find our way into Moses' office. To do that, we're going to need to world line hop over to the living world line. So make sure you do that. There's going to be a portal right here at the staircase by the janitor cart. Once you are over, you should be able to head on inside. What's going to happen is you're going to get another cutscene with some more dialogue. Make sure you get through that the best you can. Once you are back in control, we're going to jump back to the dead world line, this time in the actual office to bypass our little obstacle. And then once we are over into the dead world line, we're going to then turn around once we get control of our character. And then we're going to notice this mural right here on this wall. Make sure you go to the base of the ladder and then try to take a snapshot of it. Your character is going to tell you they need a better angle, so that's going to require us to head up to the second floor. So make sure you do so. Just turn around, look for the staircase to head up to the deck, and then you should be able to find the photo spot. It's going to be by the star projector, so it's going to be behind this couch right here. This one also does count as a student project for that achievement, so it's going to be another collectible that counts for 2 achievements. So make sure you snap this photo, and then we can move on to Chapter 3. So first one up is going to be in the subchapter Proving Ground. We're going to be at the Overlook, so make sure you head up to the precipice. You're going to need to sit on a bench to wait for someone to show up. Before you do that, you're going to notice these flowers right here. So make sure you go up to them and then hit the B button to do your little snapshot thing as we've been doing, and that's going to take care of another one. Then we're going to move on to the next subchapter, Reverses. This is going to be another one of those subchapters that has multiple arcs to it. So we're going to start out with the Gwen arc. This is going to be once we head to the Fine Arts building. We are going to need to be in the dead world line. So once we have that taken care of, we're going to head to the right and then look for this tree right here. Behind the tree are going to be a bunch of stained glass windows. You want to make sure you look at the middlemost one and then try to snap a photo. Your character is going to want a better angle, so that's going to require us to go in front of the tree. So make sure you go between these two seats right here. Make sure you turn around, stand in the circle, B button to snapshot, and make sure you get the tree and the windows in the background, and that's going to take care of that. Once that's taken care of, we are then going to head into Gwen's office as we are supposed to. Still sticking to the dead world line, so make sure you have that taken care of. So head on inside, the door should be wide open. Then you want to turn to the right. There's going to be a record player right here next to the fish tank. Make sure you hit the B button to take a photo of this one, and that's going to take care of everything from Gwen's arc. We're going to move on to Vin's arc. This is going to be in the administration building. We're going to be on the living world line when we get here, so we're going to need to change back to the dead world line. So make sure you take care of that. The portal is going to be in the exact same place as it normally is, but once we're in the dead world line, head into his office, go over to his desk, and you can snap a photo of the little hedgehog toy right here. So make sure you do that, and that's going to take care of Vin's arc. Then we're going to move ahead to Lucas's arc. The beginning of this arc is going to be a little different depending on what you did earlier in the story. Either what's going to happen is he's going to invite you into his office or he's going to kick you out. It shouldn't really matter since we need to leave anyways, as we're going to need to enter his office in the dead world line. So make sure you get that intro taken care of and then hop over to the dead world line once you are back in the main area of the fine arts building. Once you make the jump, you should be able to go into his office unimpeded. And then once you are in here, you should be able to look around. So the collectible we are looking for here is going to be the golden typewriter. It's going to be on the bookcase to your right. So right here towards the middle underneath the map, make sure you snapshot this one as well, and that's going to wrap up the one in Lucas's arc as well as this subchapter. So moving on to the next one, Nobody Wants to Drink Alone, the very romantic subchapter. Once you get control of your character, we're going to need to talk to Amanda. This is going to be the only requirement of this subchapter. It's not going to matter whether or not you romance her, so take care of whatever suits your fancy or whatever achievements you're currently going for. And then once you are back in control, you're going to go back to her, and this time you can take a snapshot. This snapshot is going to be available to you regardless of whether or not you do romance her, so make sure you do keep that in mind. All you have to do is just talk to her, and then once the conversation's over, you should be able to snap away. Once that's taken care of, we're going to need to get the opposite one, which is going to be done in the other world line. So it's going to be over to the bathroom area. Make sure you world line hop, and then once you are in the dead world line, make sure you talk to Vinh. This is going to be your other romance option. Just like the last one, it's not going to matter whether or not you romance him, so just make sure you choose whatever you want to suit either your story outcome or whatever achievements you're trying to go for. But once you are done with the conversation, you should be able to get a snapshot, and it's going to be available whether or not you decide to romance him. On to chapter 4, every single one of the snapshots are going to be found in the same subchapter, no party like a Krampus party. Once you start the subchapter, you're going to be in control of your character. You're going to want to make your way forward, and then you're going to want to look at this person in this costume right here. They're going to be the Abraxas Kid. Make sure you snap their photo, and that's going to take care of the first one. The next one's going to be very close by, so make sure you turn your attention to the stage. Make sure you try to get a picture of it. Go up to the actual stage, and then make sure you try to snap a photo. It's going to be another one where your character is going to want a better angle, so make sure you do adjust. Take a step back, and then make sure you take a picture of it from where the little circle thing tells you to. It should be directly in front of the projector in case you are having trouble trying to get the spot just right. Make sure you get the stage in frame and get this photo as well, and then we're going to move on. This next one's going to be pretty missable. This one's going to be done right after we tamper with the projector. We're going to need to head over to Moses in order to tell him to fix it. He's going to be over here in this booth with Diamond. Make sure you talk to them. Now, very important that you make sure you ask about the card game before bringing up the projector. So make sure you choose who's winning. Do not pick Busted Projector, as that's going to force the next story bit. Once you are done with this conversation, make sure you hit A to pick later. That's going to put you back in control of your character. And then once you are back in control, you should be able to have the snapshot become available to you. So make sure you turn around and then get the snapshot, and then you should be free to move on with the story at this moment. So do make sure you get this one out of the way while it's still available. As for the next one, this one's going to be the last one, and not only for the subchapter, but the last one for chapter 4 overall. This one is also highly missable. This one is going to be after we convince Moses to fix the projector for us. So once you get that, we're supposed to head back to the Dead World line in order to update that version of Moses on the situation. So make sure you start the conversation. What's going to happen is he's going to be in the middle of building a gingerbread house, and then what's going to happen is the chimney is going to break. And then what's going to happen after that is your character is going to offer to find a new chimney. So that's going to require us to head back to the living world line. So make sure you do that. So back to the bathrooms area, and make sure you make the jump back. Once we're back in the living world line, we're going to find our chimney by talking to Safi. She's going to be located in the back corner to the right of the stage. Now, it's going to be very important that you make sure you get the gingerbread house taken care of before speaking to her like normal. The option to speak to her is going to be available after talking to Gwen, but regardless of what the setup is, you're going to want to choose gingerbread house first and foremost. This is going to make sure that she gets you the chimney. This side quest does have an achievement tied to it, so make sure you do keep that in mind as well. But this is also going to ensure that we don't accidentally advance the story. So once we do actually have the chimney in our inventory, we're going to hit up the Dead World line again, and then we're going to talk to Moses in order to give it to him, so make sure you do that. Your character is going to hand the chimney over, and he's going to be able to complete his gingerbread house. And then once that's taken care of, you should be able to take a picture of the two. So do make sure you turn around and then make sure you snap that photo, which should wrap up chapter 4. We're going to move on to the final chapter, chapter 5. The first two snapshots are going to be story related and unmissable. So the main story thing of this chapter is we're basically going to talk to all the characters, and then we're going to end up taking their snapshot. All of these snapshots are going to also require the double exposure feature. So normally when you take a snapshot, you're going to hit right trigger to take the photo like normal. However, for these ones, you also need to hit right bumper after the fact in order to double expose them. And that's going to be how you purge these people of whatever is afflicting them. So all of these are going to be done in cutscene with the exception of Lucas and Gwen for some reason. These require you to go up to them and then hit the B button to do the snapshot like normal, but they are still going to be story related, so you can't miss them anyways. So with all that out of the way, we're going to finally move on to the final sub-chapter, Back Together Again. This is basically going to be the end of the game where we're going to be talking to all of the characters. Now, each character is going to have their own snapshot needed for this achievement, but do keep in mind the arrangement of the characters is going to depend on certain story choices. This shouldn't be too big of a deal because the achievement is going to be to collect all available photos in your particular story. So that being said, you shouldn't worry about missing any snapshots even if you do end up making different story choices. It's just going to be the total number of snapshots is going to differ depending on your story choices, so make sure you do keep that in mind. So the last subchapter is going to open with us back on campus. We're going to be right over here at the quad. We're going to head over to the picnic area. So make sure you follow the sidewalk and then wrap around here. So the first character is going to be one of those ones that's only available because of certain story choices, and that's going to be Reggie. He is only going to be here if we decided to romance Vinh and if we decided to distract him from the projector by choosing schoolwork. So if he's not here, it's not going to count for the achievement, but if he is here, it will count for the achievement. So make sure you do talk to him, and then once you are done having your conversation with him, you should be able to take his snapshot, which is going to count for the achievement, once again, if he is here. So hopefully this type of character isn't going to be too confusing, but the next character is always going to be here, and you can always take her snapshot, and it's always going to count for the achievement, and that's going to be Loretta. Make sure you talk to her, and make sure once you are done, make sure you do take her snapshot, and that's going to take care of everyone at this little picnic area. So once everything is done here, whether that be one person or two people, we're going to follow the sidewalk. We're going to head towards the bar. There's going to be one more on campus that we need to take care of first, though, and that's going to be the statue right here. So make sure you go up to the Caldeon statue with Lucas sitting in front of it. Hit the B button to snapshot. It's going to be another one where your character is going to want a better angle. The photo spot is going to be right here to the left, so make sure you stand in the circle. B button to snapshot, make sure you get your picture, and that's going to wrap up the ones on campus. So it's going to be over to the Snapping Turtle bar, so make sure you do cross that bridge and then leave the area on to the final area of the game, which is going to have the rest of your compatriots. So as soon as you step foot in, you're going to be forced into a conversation with Moses, so make sure you go through that. Same deal as everyone else. As soon as you finish talking to anyone, make sure you get their snapshot. So we're going to take care of Moses because that's going to be the first person. So turn around, make sure you get his snapshot, and that's going to take that one off the list. You can do these in any order, but once again, do keep in mind the arrangement of characters is going to be a little different depending on certain story choices. So for our next character, we're going to go with Vinh. If you did not romance Vinh, Reggie is also going to be here. So make sure you do keep that in mind. It's going to count as the same snapshot, though, just in the alternative one. There's going to be two people in the snapshot. So make sure you get Vinh here, or Vinh and Reggie, depending on how your story went. And that's going to take care of that one off the list. You just need one. You do not need both, which would take another playthrough anyways. So make sure you do keep that in mind. And hopefully this is still not confusing. The next two are always going to be here, so we're going to have Amanda, who's going to be sitting over here at this table. Make sure you talk to her, and then once this is up, make sure you get her snapshot as well. Any story decision isn't going to factor in to her character whatsoever outside of the actual dialogue, so the availability of the snapshot is always going to be here, so make sure you do get it. The same is going to be true of the next character, who is going to be Diamond, who's going to be standing awkwardly over here. So make sure you talk to her. She is going to leave and then walk all the way across the bar after you're done talking to her, though. So try not to get lost. She is standing next to Moses if you don't know where you're going. So over to the bar counter and make sure you get her snapshot as well. And that's going to take care of that. As for the last character, this one is going to be completely dependent on story decisions. And that's going to be Gwen. Gwen is only going to be here if your loyalty is high enough with her, which is going to have a bunch of different story things that determine that. For the most part, she's going to be here if you did return the flash drive to her. But again, even if she isn't here, her not being here is not going to count against you for the achievement. So you should unlock the achievement after talking to Diamond and getting her snapshot. But if Gwen is here, you are going to need to get her snapshot as well. So make sure you get this one taken care of. Nonetheless, once you do have all of the available snapshots done in the game, you should be good for the achievement somewhere around here. There it is. It's going to be 50 gamer score for it. And that's all there is to it.